Alright, so you want to replace the rear window motor in your 90s model, or possibly later model Ford Bronco. Well, I'm going to walk you through the basics, give you a couple tips that helped me as I was struggling for a couple hours, and hopefully this video will help you get a better understanding of how to replace the rear window motor in your Ford Bronco. Alright, so if you're like me, you went to the parts store and you found 742251. This is from AutoZone, it's a Dorman. It's supposed to be the direct replacement for the 90s Broncos rear window motor. You can see we've already got that access panel taken off, which you will need to do. Normally it's 10 bolts. On mine I only had 3 because I knew I was going to have to do it eventually. Currently we already have the motor installed. That's pretty self-explanatory. Once you pull the old motor out, which is right here, there's normally 3 bolts holding it in. You'll see once you get back there, 1, 2, and 3. Mine only had 2 in there, the 2 outer bolts, and I'll explain why in a minute. One thing to note on the new motors, even though I am holding the old one, you'll see once you get yours out of the box, your 3 bolt holes, one here, one at the top here, and one down here on the bottom. This one, which will be the, when you install it, this will be the furthest to the driver's side. On the new Dorman part, this will need to be trimmed slightly. On the new part, this shaft for the screw extends all the way to the base of the housing, and you'll find it will need to be trimmed down just slightly in order to clear a bracket which is behind the motor. That is why I fought for 2 hours to get mine in before I did what you're doing, watching YouTubes, to find that answer. So make sure you trim just enough to fit in there, and then you should have no problem getting this motor in a solid 5-10 minutes. Okay, so that's the old one, and you'll see here currently the motor is installed. Very hard to see back there, but that is the new motor. And again, you'll see that I only have 2 screws installed, or bolts, whichever you prefer. On some manufacturers' websites online, you will note it will say that modification of the factory mounting holes is required. In this case, the modification of the factory mounting holes wasn't required, but the modification of the new motor was required to get it to fit to the factory mounting location. So, like I said, once you get that trimmed up, and it's going to be, let's see if I can get my finger in the viewfinder here, it'll be this bolt right here. The plastic below it that it actually screws into will need to be trimmed down slightly, and it will not affect how sturdy it is in there whatsoever. So currently we have it hot wired just to the old harness because I have not fully wired it in yet. I wanted to get it installed and make sure it was going to work, which it does. You'll see I can just use the micro switch here and it will raise and lower just fine. And I don't want to go all the way down because my hand is in here, so I'll put it up again. Not a problem. So this motor does work if you use that part number. You will just have to modify a little bit. Let's see, I'll give you another shot of the part number real quick if you want to use that one. This one was from AutoZone, but I'm pretty sure Advance and other parts stores use the same brand. So 742251 will be the one. I'm going to get this thing wired in, and we will touch back once it's all installed. Alright, so there we go. I'll show you the wiring harness. I got it all meshed together. What I ended up having to do was, because these, let's see if I can find one here, these guys here, I wasn't able to do what I thought I was and just unpin them and swap out the connections. I had to actually clip them and re-crimp them. That's alright though. We got it crimped together, and I put a couple wire ties, one down there at the bottom, the very bottom of the tailgate there, and coming straight up over top of all the gears there's another like a wire tie there, not a zip tie but a wire, I guess you could call it a wire hold down, and that is the connection to the motor, and then you'll see the wire running up to the motor there. So that is all out of the way of anything that could pinch it off, cut it, anything like that, any gears that might get caught up in there. And then I had a lot of extra, so I just loosely zip tied it in a little loop there, just to keep it from slopping down and falling on top of the gears or anything like that. So that is the install complete. Again, a note, I did only use the 2 bolts. On this particular Dorman motor, the top bolt would not align. So it was installed with 2. It's going to be fine with 2 for now. So, and as you'll see, I will go ahead and use the micro switches. Everything works as advertised. No problems. A lot smoother than it was. I did not grease anything. I probably should have, but my tailgate panel is only held on by 3 screws, so not a huge deal to take it off and redo that. I'm sure I'll have to be in here again at some point in the future. So let me go ahead and put this panel back on with just a couple little screws here, and I'll get back to you with the wrap up. All right, well, we got everything put back together. Had a little issue, had to redo my wiring, reroute it. You can see the latches are still closed on both sides. We're going to verify that it does indeed work with the key. Everything should be just perfect. And other than my tint, and back down, and not a problem. And we're going to close it up and make sure it works with it closed. So here we go, tailgate's closed. Let's see if it rolls up. Not a problem. Nice and even. Yeah. Ignore my dirty truck. Not a problem. Alright guys, hope that helped. So hopefully you found this video helpful in replacing your rear window motor on your 90s Bronco. This will be the first video I've done, so if you guys want to see more, if you like the content, or if you're got anything positive, anything negative to say, and let me hear it. I'm open to feedback. Yeah, like I said, hope this was helpful. Maybe I'll do some more. You guys let me know.